Welcome, gents. Adversity doesn't just build character. It reveals it. If you're a Sigma male, chances are you didn't come from a picture-perfect family. You weren't handed a nurturing environment where your individuality could thrive effortlessly. Instead, you grew up in the fire amid control, manipulation, and emotional chaos. But here's the truth most people miss. That fire didn't destroy you. It forged you. Toxic families push people into survival mode, but for Sigma males, they do something extraordinary. They teach you how to read people, question everything, and find strength where none should exist. That silence you learned to hold onto became your sanctuary. The independence they tried to crush grew into your most defining trait. You weren't just born into a toxic family by chance. It happened because you were meant to transform it into a gift. This isn't about becoming bitter. It's about turning pain into precision, control into freedom, and chaos into mastery. Stick around to uncover why your toxic upbringing isn't a curse. It's your biggest advantage. And trust me, it's time to own it. Watch till the end. Let's get started, gents. Number 1. They mastered survival before they even knew the word. Survival is a skill most people don't think about until they're forced to. For Sigma males, it wasn't a choice. It was life from day one. Growing up in a toxic family meant nothing was ever straightforward. Love came with conditions, trust was a gamble, and peace was fleeting. While most kids were figuring out what made them happy, Sigma males were figuring out how to avoid the next emotional ambush. They didn't just survive. They learned to thrive in an environment designed to break them. The chaos taught them lessons others never have to learn. They didn't rely on anyone to fix things because they knew help wasn't coming. They became their own safety net. Arguments that erupted out of nowhere taught them how to read people before words were even spoken. Silent glares and subtle shifts in tone became louder than screams. Over time, they didn't just adapt to this. They excelled at it. What sets them apart is how they've redefined survival. For them, it's not just about making it through the day. It's about knowing how to stay calm in the middle of emotional storms, how to think clearly when others are spiraling, and how to hold their ground when everything feels like it's crumbling. They've turned emotional minefields into maps, learning to navigate situations with precision that most people wouldn't even understand. Their upbringing wasn't easy, but it was their training ground. It hardened them without making them cold, taught them independence without shutting out the world, and sharpened their instincts until nothing could catch them off guard. Survival for a Sigma male isn't just about staying alive. It's about living life on their terms, no matter how chaotic things get. And that is why they're unbreakable. Number 2. They understand people's true colors without being told. Growing up in a toxic household means you quickly realize words don't always match actions. Promises get broken, love is conditional, and motives are rarely pure. For Sigma males, this environment is like a crash course in human behavior, and they come out of it with a skill set few can match. They don't just hear what people say. They notice what they don't say, the hesitation in their tone, the flicker in their expression. Over time, they become experts at spotting patterns even before they fully form. It's not magic, and it's definitely not luck. It's experience. They've been lied to enough times to know how deception starts in the little details, in the over-explanations, or in the too perfect excuses. They've seen manipulation play out so many times that they can predict it before the manipulator even realizes they're being obvious. This isn't intuition in the traditional sense. It's a skill honed through survival. Toxic households force you to learn quickly or get hurt repeatedly, and Sigma males have no interest in being anyone's victim. What makes this ability so powerful is how quietly they use it. They don't call people out immediately or make a scene. They just file the information away, understanding exactly who they're dealing with. It's not about paranoia. It's about preparation. By the time most people realize they're being played, Sigma males have already seen it coming, stepped back and adjusted their moves. This skill isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about clarity. They understand people for who they truly are, not who they pretend to be. That level of awareness is rare, and it's why Sigma males stay one step ahead in relationships, work, and life. When you see the game before it's played, you can't lose. Number 3. They were forced to build their identity from scratch. In a toxic family, individuality is rarely celebrated. The environment revolves around control, who you should be, how you should act, and what you're allowed to feel. There's no room for questioning, exploring, or being different. But Sigma males don't fit into molds, and that clash often starts early. The very pressure to conform becomes the fuel for their rebellion. Not the loud, attention-seeking kind, but the quiet, internal refusal to let anyone dictate who they are. This isn't an easy path. In a family where even small acts of independence are met with resistance, Sigma males learn to keep their true selves hidden while carefully building a foundation of who they want to be. Every rule they were forced to follow without question becomes something they examine, dismantle, and rebuild in their own way. They learn to think critically not because anyone taught them, but because their survival depended on it. Over time, they create an identity so solid that no one can shake it. This identity isn't tied to approval or validation because they never had those things in the first place. They don't seek applause for who they are. They simply exist as themselves, unapologetically and without compromise. What makes this transformation so powerful is that it's entirely self-made. While others rely on external feedback to shape their character, Sigma males rely only on their own judgment. They know exactly who they are because they've had to fight for every piece of that knowledge. This independence isn't just a trait, it's their armor. A toxic family tried to suppress them, but all it did was teach them how to be unshakably themselves. Now, no amount of criticism, rejection, or expectation can change who they've chosen to become. Autonomy and mutual respect. It's leadership without control, influence without force. A style that leaves a lasting impact. Number 6. They're the perfect mix of soft and ruthless. Growing up in a toxic environment is like living in a constant state of contrast. One moment, you're navigating cruelty. The next, you're holding on to slivers of compassion to survive. For Sigma males, this experience shapes them into something extraordinary. A perfect mix of softness and ruthlessness. They don't just survive the chaos. They extract lessons from it, learning how to balance empathy with an unflinching ability to protect themselves. They've seen what unchecked cruelty can do, and that's why they value kindness. But their kindness isn't naive or blind. It's deliberate, offered to those who deserve it and withheld from those who don't. They've been burned enough times to know when someone's intentions aren't genuine, and when that line is crossed, they don't hesitate to cut ties. No warnings, no dramatic exit. Just a quiet but firm removal of that person from their life. This duality makes them unpredictable. One moment, they can be the most understanding and supportive presence in the room, offering insight and compassion few others can match. The next, they can go ice cold, shutting down any attempt to manipulate or harm them. It's not inconsistency, it's strategy. They adapt to what the situation demands, choosing softness when it's warranted and ruthlessness when it's necessary. This balance is what makes Sigma males so magnetic and intimidating. People can't quite figure them out because they don't fit neatly into any category. They can be the one who offers a helping hand, but they are also the one who walks away without looking back if their boundaries are crossed. It's not about being cold-hearted. It's about knowing their worth and refusing to let anyone compromise it. This mix of compassion and strength is their quiet superpower. Number 7. They spot toxicity before it enters their life. Sigma males have a built-in radar for toxicity, and it's not luck, it's survival. Growing up in environments where manipulation, deceit, and dysfunction were the norm forced them to notice details most people overlook. They had no choice but to become hyper-aware of patterns, motives, and subtle shifts in behavior. What started as a coping mechanism has evolved into an almost preternatural ability to spot toxic people, workplaces, and situations before they can cause harm. This skill isn't about paranoia, it's about precision. Sigma males don't need dramatic displays or obvious clues to recognize something's off. They pick up on inconsistencies in tone, micro-expressions, or the way someone's actions don't align with their words. They've seen every tactic in the book, from guilt-tripping to gaslighting, so they know exactly what to look for. The key difference is that Sigma males don't just notice toxicity, they act on it. While others might give endless chances or hope things will improve, Sigmas trust their instincts and cut ties when necessary. They don't waste time trying to change toxic people or environments because they know the cost of staying too long. What's even more remarkable is their ability to see toxicity coming before it fully unfolds. They can walk into a workplace and sense whether the culture is supportive or manipulative. They can meet someone and intuit whether their charm is genuine or a mask for control. This foresight gives them an edge in avoiding situations that would drain or derail others. Their upbringing may have been harsh, but it gave them the ultimate defense, a finely tuned ability to protect their peace. Fooling them once is rare, and fooling them twice is almost impossible. They've learned that their time, energy, and sanity are worth far more than any gamble on toxicity. Number 8. They're obsessed with freedom. Growing up in a toxic family often means living under constant restrictions, emotional, psychological, and even physical. Personal freedom is denied in favor of control, manipulation, and suffocation. For Sigma males, this experience creates a deep, almost obsessive yearning for freedom. It's not just about avoiding being controlled. It's about ensuring their very essence isn't trapped or compromised by anyone else's influence. They've seen firsthand how suffocating life can become when choices are taken away, when voices are silenced, and when autonomy is replaced with expectations. As a result, they refuse to settle for anything less than full control over their own life. This drive stems from a place of necessity, protecting their identity and integrity from being eroded by the same forces that once tried to suffocate them. For Sigma males, freedom isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. They understand that without the ability to think, act, and live on their terms, their authenticity is at risk. This need isn't frivolous, it's rooted in survival. They fought too hard to reclaim parts of themselves that were once lost to the toxic control of others. This obsession with freedom shapes every aspect of their lives. How they work, how they love, how they interact with society. They won't compromise their sense of self for the sake of fitting in or maintaining approval. Their soul remains untamed, no matter the circumstances, because they refuse to let anyone impose limitations on what they value most: their independence. In a world designed to control and conform, Sigma males stand firmly against anything that tries to stifle their personal freedom. Their relentless pursuit of autonomy isn't just a rebellion against toxicity. It's a declaration of their right to be exactly who they are, unapologetically, wholly, and freely. Number 9. They know that love doesn't equal control. In toxic families, love is often weaponized, manipulated into a form of control rather than a genuine connection. Sigma males have witnessed firsthand how love can be suffocating, with expectations tied to obligations and boundaries ignored in the name of care. They've learned to reject this distorted version of love, instead redefining it on their own terms. For them, love isn't about control. It's about mutual respect and autonomy, where both individuals maintain their individuality while nurturing a deep, meaningful bond. Sigma males understand that love should never come with strings attached or the need to dominate another person's choices. They've been exposed to suffocating manipulation disguised as affection, which has left them with a clear understanding that true love thrives on freedom, not domination. They recognize that respect and boundaries are essential components of any healthy relationship, something often absent in toxic environments. This redefinition of love shapes how they engage in relationships. They seek partners who appreciate and support their independence, not those who attempt to restrict or dictate their actions. For Sigma males, love is about collaboration and understanding, not control or possessiveness. They refuse to be trapped in relationships where their worth is measured by how much they sacrifice their individuality. Their clarity on this distinction empowers them. They are not swayed by guilt or pressure to conform to outdated notions of love. Instead, they stand firm in their belief that healthy love is built on trust, empathy, and the freedom to grow as individuals alongside one another. In a world where toxic dynamics often masquerade as affection, Sigma males know that love without respect is not love at all. It's just control in disguise. Number 10. They don't romanticize forgiveness. Society often emphasizes forgiveness as a moral obligation, especially in the context of family dynamics. However, Sigma males approach forgiveness with a level of discernment and intentionality that goes beyond societal expectations. They don't blindly adhere to the idea of forgiving toxic family members simply because it's seen as the right thing to do. Instead, they forgive only when it serves their peace, growth, and personal well-being, not out of obligation or guilt. In toxic environments, forgiveness can often be manipulated, used as a tool to ease the conscience of those who have inflicted harm without true accountability. Sigma males recognize this and refuse to engage in forgiveness for the sake of appearances. They understand that genuine forgiveness requires both acknowledgement of past wrongdoing and a commitment to growth from the other party. Without these, forgiveness becomes hollow, leaving wounds unhealed and boundaries breached once again. For Sigma males, forgiveness is not a process to be rushed or expected. They approach it with clarity and intention, asking themselves whether forgiving someone will create peace or simply invite further emotional strain. Their peace is their priority, and if forgiveness can contribute to that, they'll embrace it strategically. However, they won't force themselves into forgiving someone simply because it's seen as the right or socially accepted path. They know that healing doesn't come from empty forgiveness. It comes from a place of self-respect and the ability to let go of the emotional baggage that holds them back. Forgiveness for them is a tool, not a mandate. They wield it with precision, knowing that their peace is worth far more than the superficial release of resentment that often accompanies premature forgiveness. As I conclude, growing up in a toxic family may have been difficult, but it has shaped you into someone stronger and more resilient, something that many will never understand. As a Sigma male, you've navigated emotional minefields, learned to stand firm in your authenticity, and built a life where you no longer rely on the approval of others. You've grown into someone who thrives on independence, self-awareness, and the courage to question the norms that once held you back. Your journey wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Toxic families may have tried to suppress your identity, but they couldn't erase the fire inside you. That fire fuels your ability to lead, to adapt, and to shape your own destiny. You've learned how to turn pain into power, boundaries into protection, and rejection into freedom. You are not defined by the toxicity of your past. You are defined by how you've risen above it. You've embraced your uniqueness, your ability to see the truth, to reject manipulation, and to create a life of your own design. You've chosen to walk a path less traveled, and in doing so, you've become a force to be reckoned with. Now it's time to surround yourself with others who understand that journey. Join a community like Gents Grove, where like-minded Sigma males come together to support, inspire, and elevate one another. Together, you'll continue to grow, challenge boundaries, and build a future that reflects your deepest values and desires. You are not alone. You are part of something bigger, a movement of individuals who refuse to be defined by their past, but rather by their ability to shape their own future. Embrace your gift, stay true to yourself, and continue to rise. The best is yet to come. See you in our next video. God bless you.